My usual way of working is after I have done the buttons in the center, this is a different one, I start and I put the beads around the center hexagon. And I like to use often a bugle bead and a regular bead on each side. Sometimes they're smaller round beads, but for this one I used a little bit bigger ones. So I wanted to show how I do these beads because bugle beads are a little bit different than regular round beads. Here is one which I have done one bugle bead, and he has 2 round beads on each side. Here are some bugle beads, and I want to show you, maybe I can show you here. They're long and they have a hole in the center. There they go. And I really like them, but these edges on each end can be sharp, and they can, if they wore against thread, they could cause your thread to get weak and maybe even break. So whenever you put bugle beads on, you need to put something on each end of this, the rough edge. So what I usually do is let me take this out so you can see. I pull my knot through, just like I did for the buttons, hide the knot, and then stick the needle through, take it through the one bugle bead or one round bead, through the bugle bead and down. And as you do that, I'm going to do another one so I can show you. You want to make sure you're going very perpendicular as you put the bead on, so that the beads don't get if you're stitching in the stitches out here, the beads will slip around and then they don't look as good. So let's do one more set of beads. Okay, so I'm going to take I'm going to go up through here. I am using some thick thread. It's a little thicker thread than usual, and a needle which will allow the thread to go through. So I put one round bead on and a bugle bead and another round bead. And then I'm going to put this over here so that you can, I hope, see it very nicely. Once I have them on, I use my other hand, sort of pull them back so that they're nice and tight, and then try to get my needle as close as I can to the edge of the bead. And notice how it's straight up and down. I'm going to go back into the background and pull it snug. Then I go to the back and I'm going to basically go back and run that thread through one more time, through all 3 beads. Go back in as close to the bead as possible and pull it through. And then I'm going to move on. I'm going to go right back up to the top, and you can, oftentimes, your needle will be long enough that you can go to the very next spot, but sometimes I just go part way and just slip my needle in between the layers and then come right over here, and I'm ready to do the next set. Now after I've done maybe 2 or 3, I will just take a little stitch or 2 and knot this, just so we don't have them coming apart or having a bead spill, what I call a bead avalanche. Now, there's thousands of ways you can put the beads on. Sometimes this last flower hug I made, I didn't like the idea of having the long bugle bead, so I just put 3 or 4 beads right in the same spot and it works fine. After I finish these beads, usually then I go on to the beads that are around here, and those are very, very easy to do, just like you did the others. You hide your thread, and once I do 2 or 3 of these beads, and I do put a little knot in the back and move on. Final thing that I do is use black thread again and put on a ladybug. So there's lots of different ways, lots of different things you could do to your in your beading. Put beads all over, but yeah, it's very fun, and the main thing is try to make sure that you're happy with it when it's finished. So have fun adding a few beads and buttons to your quilts.